Hello, everybody. Welcome back to DevToberfest 2024, Week 2 Tooling Tuesdays. This is our first session of the day. Thank you all for joining us live. As the celebration of DevToberfest continues into week 2, I would like to remind you that it is an exciting contest where you learn about the new developments happening at SAP, do hands-on tutorials, take part in fun events, and earn points. The top 10 winners will get a grand prize of an all-expense covered trip to 2025 TechEd location. What could be better than this, right? My name is Rekha Diyar. Along with me, I have Srinivasa Nilamegam. We are developer advocates at SAP and will be hosting this session for you. Now it's time to welcome our guest speakers, Jeremias Robles and Victor Lee. Jeremias is a full-stack developer in the app runtime team of SAP Build Apps. Victor Lee is a software development engineer specializing in developing low-code tools, currently with a focus on incorporating generative AI into these tools at SAP. At this moment, I would like to recall the quote by Abraham Lincoln, "The most reliable way to predict future is to create it." Our speakers are here to shed light on what the future holds for SAP Build Apps with an interesting topic, SAP Build Apps 2049, soon with UI5 and generative AI. I will now hand over to the speakers for the introduction and topic presentation. Over to you, Jeremias and Victor.
Thank you, Rika. Let me share my screen. Can you see my slides? Is my slides available right now?
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Victor. Welcome to the first half of the session. As one of the time travelers from 2049, now it's my turn to bring some small POCs here, which are happening and which will happen from a certain time in future. Well, I'm serious. This topic is about when UI meets AI in SAP Build Apps. To start with, in the current era you are living in, 2024, seeing from the volatile markets, the limited resources and developer capacity, as well as the IT landscape, the organizations are struggling to innovate at the speed of business demands. So here comes the first tip. A demand is forever. Regardless whether you are professional developers or citizen developers, I'm sure this will be true at least until and beyond 2049. Good news is that something is happening, like SAP Build Apps. So here, let's have a first look at a simple demand to see how far we could go to implement a basic landing page, such as a search entrance. There are many aspects to consider to implement such UI, and since it's a starting point, let's focus on the layout. The layout, as you have anticipated, includes the components, hypercomponents, and their hierarchy, their relative relationships, and their alignments, placements, and so on. Now let's go to the Build Apps from the Future edition. As you can see, this is a design time of Build Apps with a button, picturesque, coming from the future. And on clicking this button, I can start from a picturesque thing. So here I would start with a mockup just for purpose of learning and testing. I select it and upload it. That's about it. So what's this mockup on Earth? As you can see, it has some basic layouts. There are buttons on top left corner, top right corner, left bottom corner, and right bottom corner with a central searching box, as well as buttons images. Meanwhile, I will start a contest, a game between the future me and the current me. In the left browser type, I will try to simulate the same mockup with the classic approach. As we observed from the mockup, we have some headline and the main area as a footer. So I will drag some containers to start with. For example, 3 ones, 3 rows, first row, second and third. And when we come back, when I have just got started, but on the left side, but on the right side, from the future edition of the SAP Build Apps, something have already happened. I just need to save it. So let's see what happened in the runtime. Now, this is future me, the work by future me, and it successfully reproduced the layout, for example, the headers, the buttons, the main area, and as well as the footer. And it also has the ability to pay close attention to some details, for example, the icons, the seedling, and etc. So at this stage, what happened on Earth? We got a picturesque picture, and what we need to do is input this picture and convert it into view. In this arrow, of course, some magic happens in the future by AI, and here the view is composed by the view elements, for example, the images, the rendered input box, and so on, and their relationships, as well as the view state, why the button here is named search and why the bottom navigation is named privacy. The view state and view elements compose the view. This is about the simple demand. So as you can see in the right side, this is a future version of Build Apps. But on the left side, I just was able to drag 3 basic containers into it. So I think I don't want to continue these changes. But this might be a little bit early to celebrate. Maybe some idea comes into our mind is this view is too simple. It do not have some complexity behind it, and it doesn't have too much elements. So we can follow up with a complex demand. The complex demand, we can take a static billing document creation page. What kind of the billing document creation? I would take another flagship product from SAP, the S/4HANA. Here, as you can see, I have many views, and I will go to the billing and create billing documents. Roughly, we could see there is a navigation header, the banner row, as well as the controls to filter the table, and the main area in the bottom is a table. And what I need to do here, right, I will start to take a screen capture right now. Screenshot, got it. And what I need to do again, 2 approaches, right? One approach, the classical approach, I will again drag and drop, find the corresponding elements and put styling on it. But today, since coming from future, I will again start a picturesque thing, the screenshot that I have just now taken. There is a widget on the left side, so I will pick it again here. Yeah. Now I will pick this one, the new one. Upload it. And meanwhile, we can have a look at the screenshot we have taken, right? This is the overall look and feel. And just now, I would say the classic approach when I drag and drop things into it didn't win. Let's see whether how far we could go with the classic approach. Again, I will clean up the extra components and observing this, not this one, observing the look and feel, right? I will drag additional things into it. Roughly, it is also include three containers. And of course, within these containers, they have more hierarchies. But when I come back to check this future offerings, it happened. Save it, have a look at the runtime effect. Well, it's just happening. It, the future may have done a good job to reproduce the page, but it's a good job, not perfect. Apparently, we can contrast it with the screenshot on the left side we have taken, right? It has some differences. For example, the icons, right? The spaces are not correctly placed. And as well as here, the filter, the standard are not placed in the expected place, as well as the bottom, the main area. These buttons, these icons should be placed on the right side. So at this moment, one choice is, again, we can edit, drag and drop, and configure their properties, but we can also prompt the AI to do the same thing for us. For example, we can observe the icons in the bottom, right? The icons on the right side of what? The building settings. Building settings button should be placed on the right side of the whole row instead of being closely to the right of this button. Well, I just send it out. The icons on the right side should be placed on the right side of the whole row instead of being, well, it sounds like a tongue twister. Anyway, let's see the behavior of AI. And meanwhile, it's a turn of the classic approach, right? We can come back to continue our work, but apparently the progress on even though there are some glitches, the progress on the right side is faster than the classic approach. Anyway, we can continue. This is an image, so I will try to drag an image placeholder, and the raw should contain roughly two parts. So I will also, these two parts is fine. But I think I will not continue the classic approach because the future me have already made some progress. Let's save it and refreshed. As you can see, it has understood our intention and make the updates successfully. And of course, this is still not perfect. We can continue enhance it. For example, the future, the billing date, right, should not be in the same role to the standard, but in the implemented view, it did. This time, I might not want to type so many words into it, so we can still use the audio approach. this moment, I would say the a future active billing date should be to the bottom of the standard instead of being parallel, right? A future active billing date should be to the bottom of standard instead of being parallel horizontally to standard. Well, just send it out. This time it's voice instead of many keystrokes. And the experience is just like talking to a nice colleague who will never reject your requests and who is very smart and patient. This time again, I will come back to some manual work, right? So right side to the SAP, there is create billing documents. So I will drag create billing documents to reproduce that. Documents, the case is not billing documents. And then the right side are the icons. So I will increase the number of cells here. We've already got 2 cells, right? There should be 3 cells. Well, again, come back. So I will not continue this way. Let's check the result first. Well, correct. A future active billing date is to the bottom. And if we want, for example, the standard, right? Standard and the stylings, so many aspects to improve, even though we could evolve this UI with AI together, round and round again. So that's about the complex demand. In this time, we take care of the layout, of course, but we also improved, for example, in terms of the typography, font, as well as the icon. The icons, we can also improve their names, the size, the types, and etc., etc. And the color, right? Here are the complex demand. At this stage, if it is a BO3 game, I think the future me have indeed take this contest. And maybe another idea may generate from the bottom of the heart. They are static. They are one image and one static view. And as we know in the UI development, it's far from complete, right? I agree that. It's static. We need to loop things instead of fill some static fields here. And we need to add some behaviors to the buttons, to the drop downs to make them fully interactive. Does this mean the work by future me is not extensible at all? Certainly, it is indeed extensive. As you can see, we can extend this text or extend this button by the classic approach. All of these things live in the ecosystem of SAP Build Apps and SAP Build. So we can, for example, here we can insert what any flow functions we want. This is the toast. So I will attach a flow logic node here. Cool. And save it. So after the runtime refreshed, I click on it, it works. That's the runtime behavior. In short, this will not replace the drag and drop the classic no-code way to configure the things, but it extends it. It's fully extensible. I admit this might not be the full picture, so let's come with a bunch of demands. Not static anymore, not a single image. This time, the demand is project creation flow in lobby of SAP Build. What kind of creation flow? We want to create some sort of projects here, right, in the SAP Build. But this time, what we are going to create is not the apps by Build Apps, not apps by SAP Build Apps, but the app of SAP Build. So at this time, to illustrate the point that we want to evaluate, I will turn the backdrop into the pure white background without opacity. So this offerings, right, the build app application, automated process aside. And what I need to do right now, I will start the screen recording. Start the screen recording and pick build an application. We can have two offerings, right? Today's topic is build apps. I will pick build apps, and I have two choices, the client or the server side. I will create client app. So here I can input name, and I can also navigate back to the previous screen and back again to the build apps or the professional development stories from build code and back again with process automation, the actions, as well as the work zone to build the site. Well, today is about build apps, so I will just stop here. And if we come back to the recording just now, right? It generated a video, and this is another empty application. I will just select another picturesque thing, this time not a screenshot anymore, but a video. I select it, upload it, and nothing happened. This is the I think this must be you must be familiar to this. And behind the scene, we can continue to consider this aspect, right? This still applies to the UI generation, but we will also take care of the interaction. This means what we have got is not a picture anymore, but a video. And the gap seems so large between them. Anyway, we are trying, and this is still on the way of enhancement. So this is the previous manual approach, and I will continue to see, even though we have the winner of the previous BO3 game with 2 times of winner as the future me. So I will continue to enhance. For example, based on this screen, I will take drag drop as an example. There are a dialog and approximately 4 containers. 4 containers. Not this one. Not children. Outside of it. Yeah, the first one. And the top is the SAP build include such a text. And the second, what would you like to do? Here, it's a title. And the third, well, I think I won't continue with the third, right? As you can see, something should happen, I'm sure, but it looks like nothing happened. Let's have a look at the result. Well, that's it. Looks amazing. SAP Build, we have 3 offerings, and click the building apps. There will be 2 offerings, and I continue to click. There are 2 offerings of client side or server side. And finally, client side is the gorgeous creation form. And of course, I can continue to create, but I haven't demonstrated such flows in the video. So the future me with AI do not know how to proceed. But we can continue to back, right? Indeed, I have demonstrated the usage of back button. It will correctly go to the one level up and back again. SAP Build Apps code and back again. The three offerings of SAP Build currently. So how to narrow down this gap? We need to clarify the UI, right? The interactive UI can be corresponding to a video. And what's missing here, generally, we can cover it in short and a rough state, its events and logics. So with a static view, we have achieved before. With the addition of events and logic, we can achieve the interactive UI that we have done. So now I think it's a good time to celebrate for ourselves, just like many classic masterpieces in the programming world, right? We are using the tools in SAP Build to start the voyage reproducing SAP Build, the bootstrapping, like self-compiling compilers. And the next thing that I want to let you know is thank you. Well, that's about my demonstration, and I will hand over to Jeremias.
All right. Thanks, Victor. Yeah, I think it's pretty neat that we can combine generative AI with our cool UI editor. So let
Thanks.
me share my screen now. All right. Okay. So hi, everybody. My name is Jeremias. I'm a software developer in the SAP Build Apps team. And today I want to walk us through something that we have been hearing a lot from you guys, from customers, and is the ability to make apps using SAP Build Apps that also have the look and feel of everything else in the SAP ecosystem. And for this, we're going to be looking at the SAP UI5. So SAP UI5, for those who don't know, is a UI framework. As a UI framework, it provides everything that you need to build an entire application. It follows the model view controller pattern. And yeah, it has several few cool things, such as it allows us to use theming, it supports accessibility and internationalization out of the box. And these are some of the components that it provides, as we can see here. And you might be familiar with this already because you have seen this everywhere. But yeah, the question is, do we really need an entire framework for SAP Build Apps, since we already have pretty nice runtime? So it turns out that there's a web standard called Web Components, and this is the MDN page. And Web Components, they provide a standard to build reusable UI elements. They are supported by all of the modern browsers. And it turns out also that there is a project within SAP called UI5 Web Components. So Web Components come also in the as a UI5 library. So what this means is that we can have a subset of UI elements from the SAP UI5 framework, but this is very lightweight. It's modular, so we can take only the parts that we want to have. So for example, if we go to the components list, we can choose only the components that we want to use. And it also provides all of the advantages of the UI5 framework. So it's also themable. It's ready for internationalization. And let's see if we can see some examples. So it's very easy to adapt these components into the rest of the interface. All right. So what we want to do next is we want to bring these web components into Build Apps, because that way we would be able to make web applications that are supported natively by modern browsers, right? So they use a standard way to create elements. And I'm going to show you a quick demo of something that we have been working on internally. So I have created here a blank application, and I have my regular components on the left, and I also have this new tab called UI5. So in this tab, I can, for example, drag and drop the button and maybe a text input. And you can see that I immediately get all the properties from regular UI5 components right in the Build Apps editor. So these are fully compatible, and I can change them from here. Let's, for example, to the input. Let's see, let's add a placeholder. So this, and let's take the button, let's put it down, and yes, make it like this. Perfect. Let's change the design to emphasized. That looks good. All right. So the next thing would be to add some actions onto it. So for example, the submit button fully supports the events of the button. So, and these events also work out of the box for all of the components. So we have here the list of all the events from each of these. And the next thing that I would like to show is some of the other components that we have been working on. So I have also installed this rating indicator, even though I don't really have a use for it in this app, but it's also here and supported. But if we head over to the marketplace, we can go into the search page. And in this internal demo, I have a UI5 selection here tag, so that I can see all the UI5 components supported. For example, the calendar that I was showing before. We can install this as well, and it becomes ready to use in our app. So the next steps from here, it's how to build more complex components. For example, we would like to create a table component, but it's not just a regular table component, but also that supports all of the data adapters that you immediately have with SAP Build Apps. So then you could easily connect one of your data sources to the table component, and just with a few clicks, you could select the behavior. You could control the behavior of the table. So then you don't have to worry about any of the data fetching logic or like pagination or things like this. So we want to provide kind of like out of the box, ready to use components. But this is the first step to integrating UI5 into SAP Build Apps. And I think combining these two things, so the generative AI that Victor was showing just now with the powerful UI5 components into Build Apps, you are going to be able to create amazing looking applications that are also embeddable into other parts of the SAP ecosystem. So yeah, this was my demo. Thank you very much. Let's see if we have any questions in the chat.
we noticed the audiences are great to see the UI5 and Build Apps come together. Yeah.
Indeed. I think the look and feel, they really look like really nice polished apps. Yeah, it's awesome to see.
So there is one question regarding when there will be a general availability for developers to try their hands on. Any timelines you could give?
Well, if in terms of the generative AI, well, I think it is happening but it's still on our wish list. Hope Santa will bring it next year. Anyway, please stay tuned.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's the main question. Couple of questions regarding when they will be available for public. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Victor, for demonstrating how futuristic generative AI within SAP Build Apps will accelerate application development using natural language prompts. Surely it will encourage more and more business users to start application development. And also Jeremias for demonstrating how SAP UI5 web components feature can be integrated to SAP Build Apps in order to enrich the already existing native SAP Build Apps components with UI5 components in order to create more sophisticated apps. So it is also covering the gaps what SAP Build Apps has. So this is really amazing. And also, thank you everybody for all the viewers for being with us till the end. And I would like to remind you that there are 3 more sessions on SAP Build tools lined up for the day. I wish you all attend them. At the end of the day, we will be releasing a session tutorial with 4 questions based on all the 4 sessions of today. And this tutorial will carry 1,200 points. Do take it up and gain points and rise up the Devtoberfest game board. Yeah. And I wish you all a wonderful time ahead. Thank you. Yeah, thank